15 on the scene. Charles Lori Calloway here with you guys today. And today is our weekly spotlight. And we're going to be talking about, if you missed, the interview clips from the first half of Charles's interview with Dr. Jen Lowry. If you're not familiar with who she is the owner and president of Monarch Educational Services. Charles, I had a fantastic time just editing and just rewatching the first half of this interview this week.
You know, I'm serious about this. You're going to think I'm joking around. She's got me thinking that I need to start reading more fiction. You know, I'm a nonfiction lover, and I think I'm going to read some fiction. Just her story is just fantastic.
Yes. And we'll share that outtake next week as well.
Oh, yeah, that outtake. We'll talk about that some other time.
Well, you know, one of the things that just really stuck out to me and I just thought was so incredible, you know, we always hear that a lot of success stories, especially for small business owners, actually comes from their proximity to something or someone that they needed just to spark that flame in them. And didn't you think it was so fantastic that she lived right across the street from the library?
Growing up. That
was great.
Yeah. You know, it shouldn't surprise us because that's how most things happen, right? You know, even you think about like stories like Microsoft, you know, where he had proximity to the Seattle, the college there, and all the mainframe computers.
Exactly.
And during that critical period of her life. And she just fell in love with reading and writing, and what a great thing.
Mm-hmm. And you know, I don't know if anyone caught this watching our videos last week, but we actually were at the Clayton Library, mm-hmm. not the library that she grew up close to, but the library that's here and close to us locally that our kids have loved going to and visiting. Mm-hmm. And we actually did the interview they allowed us to do it in the young adult section. So shout out to Clayton Library in downtown Clayton, North Carolina.
That was really nice. Of course, when I came in, I didn't know where I was going, and I went down the hall the wrong way. Oh. And so after I left, she put this blockade so no one would go there. I guess this is what happens.
Perfect.
I was in the wrong proximity.
Way to go, Charles. Well, it's probably because you were the second person to do that, because I accidentally went the opposite way while I was deep in thought about, hey, where's that other conference room that I want to look at while I'm here?
That's funny.
I wasn't supposed to be back there.
I love breaking rules. What can I say?
Well, you know, that was really great. And it was so nice that her husband, Eli, came with her. Mm-hmm. And we got to meet Eli and meet the man behind Dr. Jen Lowry, who's behind her for the last 7 years, and has really just given her just total love and prayer and support to really just enable her to be able to really put Monarch Educational Services in motion.
They've been married 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
He came into the marriage, I believe, with 3 children. She has 2.
Mm-hmm.
She was a homeschooler. You know, you talk about, you know, a person that, you know, Eli, just listen to him. You could tell he was like 100% behind her.
Right.
You know, and how could she do all the things she does? A full-time job working for the county, Johnston County.
Yeah, she's a teaching and learning mm-hmm. specialist with Johnston County Public Schools.
Yeah, and she has this publishing business that's thriving.
Yes.
And she's publishing other publishers, and it's amazing. I asked her about how does she balance all of that, and it was interesting. She threw me a curveball, or she caused me to have a paradigm shift on how I look at balance in life. And what's basically I asked her about how she balances it all, Lori, and she basically caused me to think about the fact that we're all part of a bigger story.
Yes.
And therefore, you should live your life as though this was the fact, this is reality. So she said, you know, you should take it to prayer, you know, because she's a Christian, you know, which, you know, I can relate to totally. And she's saying, you know, what do you want me to do? The one who controls the bigger story. And I just thought that was beautiful. It's just so it just rolled off her tongue, and the way she thinks it was so natural for her, and that's where her balance comes from.
Agreed. And I thought about just the progression of her story. And as a Christian, of course, I'm always looking for the same thing. I'm looking for those little God moments there in the life, and how, she grew up just in the nest of the library, the public library across the street, and just fell in love with reading. And how she became a teacher, and she really has a heart for other children, and just really being sure that they fall in love with books. If the only thing they got from her was falling in love with books, falling in love with reading and learning, then she felt like she had really done something and really accomplished something. And how that turned into her childhood dream coming out in front of a classroom, and just talking about how
I forgot
she
about
wanted
that.
to be an author. And in her 40s, the kids said, well, what's stopping you?
Yeah.
Why would you give up on that dream? You're telling us not to give up on ours. And how at this point now, it's progressed to the point where she has authored 30 books. But we won't tell you the rest of the story, because you have to come back next week.
Well, before you stop, I forgot about the fact that she's encouraging the children, and then the children inspired her. And that was the other part of the parts we showed last week. Her business is a business with purpose.
Yes.
Talk about the bigger story and everything. And she talked about how she wanted to promote authors that wanted to write what she called it, clean books.
Yes.
Books that matter.
Clean YA, or clean young adult
Okay.
books.
All right. And so I thought that was really, really cool. And the whole, I came to the library that day thinking, I'm trying to, why did she name it Monarch? And you caused me to remember. You told me it was about the butterfly, probably, Charles.
Yes.
And
the process.
The process, yeah. And did you hear what she said? The first book that she was published was, it was important to her because it was the last book that she read with her mom before mom passed.
Yeah.
And what was the name of the book?
Sweet Potato Jones.
Sweet Potato Jones. And I can't wait to read that.
And you can find Dr. Jen's books, as well as the 3 authors. Again, you don't want to miss next week, because you're going to learn who these 3 authors are, and you will find out where you can purchase these books as well.
So can I say this, kind of a teaser? I love, she didn't say this in the interview, but afterwards she said Monarch is about providing hope in dark places.
Yes.
And I just wow. I have to read some of these books. So anyway, it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. Again, we really don't want you to miss next week. It's the second part of Charles's interview, again, with Dr. Jen Lowry, who is owner and president of Monarch Educational Services. We do want to let you know, if you're curious how a teacher or a learning specialist at a public school became the owner and president of a boutique traditional book publishing company, definitely don't want to miss it. And again, there are 3 authors with 3 fantastic books coming out that you don't want to miss as well. If you enjoyed reading books like The Outsider, if you enjoyed reading Harry Potter, you are going to find that these are books that you don't want to miss. And Dr. Jen herself will share with you the inspiration and the glimpse of just amazing writing that she saw in these 3 authors. So
let me say this real quick, and I know this is probably not, but I was, us doing these interviews, what's in my heart is I hope others would see others that are working in jobs. They would see themselves, they're maybe working in a job, maybe they have a business, and they're inspired to dig a little deeper, maybe to, be, and just be inspired to maybe start something or to continue to build that thing.
Right.
And so she provides some really great advice that's interwoven in all these interviews. So I really hope people will pick up on that, especially if they ever thought about starting their own business or, growing their business to something even more significant than it is already.
Right. And if you are thinking about growing your business, or you have a need for where to go next, you're at a plateau and you're not sure what to do, she gives a tip on a fantastic organization and how it helped her. And we hope that that will inspire you as well. So thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.